Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're back on the hardcore world. Like I did a few videos ago, I'm going to be doing a history with Severan segment over my grinding of emeralds. So you guys are going to hear that. Alright, usually when I try to record history with Severan segments, I usually edit simple sentences together to make it a more smooth experience. I don't want to do that this time. I'm going to just try to do it in one shot. So there's going to be a lot of me stuttering and trying to butcher words. So here we go. In the Second World War, I noticed the tendency to skip some parts of the war to get to other parts that may or may not be more interesting. One of the things that is skipped is the invasion and defense of Norway at the end of the Phony War. Most time people say that Norway just gets invaded and then that's it, and Britain pulls out and they go to help the French. But there is a story to be told here. I will not be telling the whole story of the Norwegian invasion because I think it's not important to this story, but I will be telling the Battle of the Drøbak. I think it's Drøbak Sound. I'm not sure. Norwegians yell at me. So usually, as usual, we're going to do a tiny bit of context. So at the beginning of the war, Germany invaded Poland, causing the United Kingdom and France to declare war on them. Basic stuff. So what does this have to do with Norway, you ask? A wonderful question. At the outbreak of the war, Norway and Sweden both declared neutrality in a move to avoid the war altogether. Poland legal Switzerland. But one thing that Sweden was selling iron to the Germans that had to be shipped through Norwegian ports. So both of them were in the crosshairs of the Allies and the Axis. The Allies asked them if they would stop shipping iron to the Germans, but when they got a solid no from both of them, the British then mined the waters outside of Norway, so they would be forced in international waters. The Germans saw this as a violation of, that the Allies would break Norwegian neutrality just to get what it wants, so they thought, okay, Norway isn't safe. So they go... So, this led to Germany sweating, and, well, they were thinking, okay, we can't get the iron safely from Norway now. We'll just invade Norway and take it. Now, there are a few other reasons that they would want to control Norway, like access to seaports and to break the blockade in the North Sea to get more supplies to the heartland. This was severely affecting them at the time. This led to Operation Weserübung. I had no idea. That gave Denmark and Norway an ultimatum to surrender or die. You know the drill already. Pretty standard stuff. Denmark in the 6 hours war surrendered and they were just overrun. The Norwegians, on the other hand, did not give in that easily. So the German invasion order is not the biggest deal, but this does mean, the battle, the order of battle. The Norwegians, this didn't mean for the Norwegians that they had to team up with the Allies to defend themselves. So this battle itself, the commander of Drøbak was a 64-year-old Oberst, which is equal to a colonel. We'll just call him Ericsson. Yeah, okay. A lot of Erics. He was not giving any orders about whether the approaching ship was German or British, so it was a mess. He didn't know, so he was hesitant to shoot. So one thing that I haven't really mentioned is that the battery of the defense was a cannon from the 19th century. Most of the people who were manning it were younger than the cannon itself, so... The commander knew the weapons well, so even though they were aging, it was still workable. On the 9th of April, at 4:21 a.m., I think I couldn't get a confirmation as a.m. or p.m., Ericsson gave the order to fire at the lead ship that was forcibly making its way to Oslo. When he was questioned about the order, due to there being no orders from higher up and that they didn't know who was there, he said, either I will be decorated or I will be court-martialed. Fire. I think that's cool, because he just said, history favors the bold, and shot, because unlike that one Frenchman with that bridge, history did favor him. 2 rounds were fired at the German cruiser from the big gun, the German cruiser Böker, at a range of 2,000 yards. Now, in Norwegian battle tactics, you're supposed to give a warning shot before shooting with the intent to sink. This was not followed here. The first shell hit the Böker right in front of the aft mast, and for people who have no idea what I just said, because I don't, it hit the Böker right towards the back. The second shell also hit, but it hit one of its guns, so both of them were hit. They were only able to fire 2 rounds because of the slow loading time of the cannons, because they were old, and the untrained troop manning it. Apparently, there was only one group of artillerymen. The rest were just kind of untrained. Now, the main thing it did is that the shots hit a magazine, like a magazine storage, so boom. Secondly, it hit the electricity, which affected the main gun's electricity, so they couldn't fire the main guns back. So, now, the ship wasn't stopped. It was on fire, but it was not stopped. It also fired light AA guns back once they were sailing through, but no Norwegians were hit. Now, the ship is crippled and burning, but the defenders are now hearing yelling that the troops on board were now singing Deutschland, Deutschland, über alles, the national anthem of Germany. So they're like, okay, this is a German ship. Now, this wasn't really important to them, I assume, because it was either they're fighting the Germans or the British, and both are bad, but in the hindsight, this one was probably better. Now, the ship was trying to get to the target to hopefully get saved so they could save their ship, but they were sailing right past the Norwegian torpedo launcher. Now, you would think, okay, what's the downside here? The downside is the only problem here is that the torpedoes are Austro-Hungarian built, meaning that they are old and they might not even work because they are like World War One. At 4:30, the torpedo commander, Anderson, pushed the button and the torpedoes fired. The torpedoes worked and they hit the ship. The first one didn't hit really good. The second one hit wonderfully. This caused water to flow into the decks and lead to the sinking of the Booker. Many of the Germans who got off of the ship were killed from oil because it caught fire on the sea. Later, the rest of the ships retreated. The fortress didn't get off easy. The Luftwaffe was sent, and they didn't have much anti-air fire, so the bombing was effective. They later surrendered. Now it's like, okay, why are you telling this to us? Good question. This didn't change the course of the war in the way you might think. It didn't save Norway from getting, occupied. But it did do one thing. It did two things. It showed the Norwegians took no casualties. Not a single one. 1,000 Germans died and another 1,000 were captured. I assume they were released pretty soon after, but either way. But this also gave time for the parliament, the royal family, and all of the gold reserves, well, not all, but a lot of the gold reserves of Norway to be evacuated out of the country, meaning that they could fight from exile, meaning that the Norwegian resistance could start and have effective leadership. But the main reason I want to tell the story is because I thought it was funny that a 19th century cannon took down a top-of-the-line German cruiser manned by untrained Norwegian, not even artillerymen. I thought it was funny. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!